Shaquille O'Neal, or Shaq, is a HR department's worst nightmare. Ex-players come out every month at this rate with a new horror story of the quote-unquote pranks Shaq used to pull on his teammates.
Yeah. Shaq is a jokester. Oh, yeah. So if one of the rookies would be in a stall, he would take a bucket and
especially rookies. Some of these are actually just crimes, but some of them aren't that bad. I've decided to compile as many as I could find and separate them into these categories. I do this: normal prank, a little too far, way too far, contract termination, and arrest him, because some of these are worthy of being arrested. I do want to preface, this is all alleged. Please don't sue me, Shaq. Yeah, let's rank these Shaq pranks. Alright, now starting us off, we have Goran Dragic. Now this quote-unquote prank, I'm going to be saying that a lot today. This prank has to do with the fact that Shaq made Dragic carry around a broken keyboard for a year for him. Every time they went to an away game, Dragic had to carry around Shaq's keyboard. And Dragic did that, not knowing that the keyboard never worked, and that he was only doing this because Shaq thought it was funny.
Yeah. Shaq is a jokester.
Dragic has actually come out and talked about this, and he doesn't sound like he's that upset by it.
How did he treat rookies in the NBA?
You know, I have to admit he was great. You know, he did take care of me. He had a lot of jokes. He was so funny. But yeah, one of those anecdotes, I always had to carry his keyboard when we go on away. It's a big keyboard. And, you know, from the bus to the plane, from the plane to the hotel. And a few times my room was next to his, and I never heard him, you know, play on it. And on the end of the season, I asked him, "Hey, Shaq, did you ever play on the keyboard?" He said, "No." I said, "Why not?" He said, "Yeah. It doesn't work. It's broke." So I had to carry this keyboard the whole season, and that was my rookie duties. But you know, I'm really happy that I was a part of that team, and you know, to get to know Shaq. I mean, he's a character.
So personally, I would say it's a little too far, but it's not way too far. It's not contract termination. It's not that bad. I personally wouldn't do it. I think it's quite a long-winded joke, but you know what? Everyone seems like they're happy.
He's a character.
Next up, we have understandable, but I stole your car. Now, this prank is about how Shaq used to steal his teammates' cars. The word prank is quite loose here. Basically, Shaq would take his teammates' cars, go and run the personal errands that he had to run, and then park it far away, and then give you your key, and the joke was like, look, I parked far away, now I gotta go get it. In my opinion, this is way too far. I'm someone that likes my personal space. The thought of Shaq sitting in my car, doing God knows what in my car, and then also me now having to walk like however many Ks or miles, whatever you want to call it, to get to my car, just kind of lame. This isn't a prank. This is just inconveniencing people. No one's laughing at this one. Next up, we have one which I think a lot of people will know about, and that's Shaq's dookie surprise. Shaq's dookie surprise is probably like the worst one on this list, and I'm just going to put it straight away into arrest him. If I'm right, it was Gary Payton that confirmed this story, and basically it's that Shaq would keep a bucket near him in the bathroom and poop in it and then dump it on people.
But Shaq, we used to always play jokes. Yeah. Shaq is a jokester. Oh, yeah. So if one of the rookies would be in a stall, he would take a bucket and use the bathroom in it for about a week. Okay. And then all of a sudden he'll pour it on them. So we started being jokesters.
That's such jokester material. That's awesome. I think needless to say, the dookie surprise era, this is like criminal. This is actually ridiculous that this is ever something that was like, hey, Shaq's a little jokester. Pouring shit, like actual shit on unsuspecting people is criminal. Is absolutely criminal. And the fact that this was seen as a joke ever, Shaq should have been arrested for this. Like if Shaq wasn't, you know, a top 10 basketballer of all time and instead was like a role player, would he not have just gone to prison? Could you imagine if tomorrow Shams tweeted that, like, I don't know, Julian Champagny like dipped one of the young guards on the Spurs roster into shit? Like, you don't think he'd at least get his contract terminated, but you don't think he'd be arrested for that? Another thing which could be seen as criminal is the only sneakers practice. Phil Jackson has alleged that Shaq used to show up to practice naked as a prank. Now, I'm a little torn with this, right? Because I think it fits a lot of categories here. I think arresting him for this makes sense. It could be seen as, you know, indecent exposure. I say could be. This is indecent exposure, let's be real. I also think it could get his contract terminated. I also think it's way too far, but I also think it's one of the less severe ones on this list. Imagine I'm Goran Dragic. Would I rather carry around this man's keyboard all the time, or occasionally Shaq's gonna walk in completely naked. I actually don't know which one I would prefer. Because this doesn't affect any of his teammates. This isn't like he is forcing them to get naked. This is just Shaq might walk in only wearing sneakers to training, and I genuinely don't know if I'd rather that or have to carry around his keyboard or know that Shaq might steal my car. I'm gonna put it into a little too far because this is one of those things where if Shaq is like a jokester, you know, like Gary Payton saying,
Shaq is a jokester,
and everyone likes him and it's kind of funny and we're all on the same page, I could see this being an okay prank. I definitely wouldn't do this. Nobody wants to see that, but I think, man, it could definitely be higher, but for me, it's not all that bad. It is a little bit funny. As long as everyone is like on the same page about it. So this next one is another Gary Payton story, and it's one about Devian George. I don't know how to pronounce this. Now this is a myth. Gary Payton came out and claimed that one time rookie Devian George forgot to buy the team donuts, so Shaq in his shoe. What a story. What a jokester. But both Devian George and Shaq have claimed that this is fake and untrue, which calls into question the validity of Gary Payton at all. Anything that goes into this category, a known myth, this should all be 100% fake. But anything that goes in here, I wanted to just say it right now, I can only go off what people are alleging, his former teammates are alleging. I obviously wasn't in the Lakers dressing room, or the Miami dressing room, or the Suns dressing room, whatever dressing room Shaq was in, doing anything other than getting dressed apparently. I obviously wasn't there to see these firsthand, so there is still a chance that like these are just lies that have never been corrected. Anything that's made it onto this list was either once believed to be true and is now known as fake, or it's still believed to be true. So that's why it's on the list. Next up, we have Singing on Command, and this is one for Danny Green. This was about how Danny Green was the lone rookie on a roster with Shaquille O'Neal, and Shaq basically had complete control to make Danny Green sing whenever he wanted to. Didn't matter where they were, what was going on, Shaq could tell Danny Green to sing, and Danny Green had to just do his best Troy Bolton. Now, straight away when trying to rank this, it's definitely not arrestable. It's not contract termination. I almost feel like Danny Green would have to be in on this, like unless Shaq is like threatening him to do it. And I feel like Danny Green might just be game. This isn't as bad as like way too far. I'd say a little too far. I'm sure Danny Green doesn't really want to be singing, but I don't think that this is like anywhere near as bad as covering Danny Green in his literal shit. Before we get on to the next few ones, I want to talk about a guy called Lou Amundson. Is that how you pronounce it? I gotta know. Lou Amundson.
Lou Amundson.
Lou Amundson.
Lou Amundson.
Lou Amundson. But this is one of the only times that someone has pranked Shaq back. Lou Amundson put packing peanuts in Shaq's car. So when he opened the car door, like packing peanuts fell out. I don't know what he thought would happen if Shaq would like respect him and they could become best friends. But no, this led to a lot of trolling from Shaq. And some of these are not that bad and some of them are quite that bad. We're actually just going to do all the Lou Amundson ones in one big go here. Starting off with this one, the bike. Lou Amundson used to ride a bike to training, and Shaq would find his bike and hide it and put it like 45 minutes to an hour away from where they were. Lou Amundson was young. He'd finish a workout, just want to go home, get on his bike, and he'd spend like an hour looking for it. I've got to put this with understandable, but I stole your car because it's basically the same thing. This bike is Lou Amundson's form of transportation, and Shaq is hiding it every single day. This is just as bad as if it was a car. Now the next thing is after Lou Amundson had done the packing peanuts, if I'm right, it went Shaq moving Lou's bike, Lou filling Shaq's car with peanuts, and then everything else because Lou never tried anything ever again. Just to be rapid fire with these three, it is alleged that Shaq took Lou Amundson's mouth guard and shoved it up his ass. Arrest him. It's also alleged that he took Lou Amundson's toothbrush and stirred it in literal shit. Arrest him. And the final one is that he did things like taking his comb and his personal items and rubbing them on his I would arrest him. Yeah, I would arrest him. Oh, and we even have one more that he allegedly pissed and on Lou Amundson's shoes. Yeah, I would arrest him. What a crazy clapback to getting another lighthearted prank pulled on you. I can't remember ever having heard of Lou Amundson for anything other than being one of Shaq's victims. The time Shaq peed in Suns teammate Lou Amundson's shoes. And worse, I wonder what the worst is, bro. He is a freak, bro. He's a freak. This next one is just called wrestling, and this is specifically about naked wrestling. It's said that during Shaq's time with the Suns, he was known to get naked and wrestle with his younger teammates. Shaq recounts the time he chased Dorrell Wright around the locker room while butt naked. When I'm on a team, I'm the president. So when you're a rookie, Do as I effing say, man, or I gotta show you how I get down. From 1992 to 2007, I'd touch a mother effer up in the locker room. I'm sorry, what? The process of nakedly wrestling another grown man who I can only again assume is not consenting because they aren't naked. You are, so it feels like there is a little bit of a power dynamic here, a little bit of humiliation coming from the 500-pound fridge of a human. Again, this is actually like arrestable. Let's relook at this. I think this is at least contract termination to be shoving someone's mouth guard in your shoving someone's toothbrush in there. Assuming this is true, this is one of the ones where it's like, you know, is this just an extension of the mouth guard? I would also then put them in there. And I mean, destruction of property. I don't know if that's really what we want to call it, but also not great. I'm going to move it down to contract termination. So we have 4 things about Lou Amundson in the contract termination. The interviews, the ones that I'm thinking of are really not that bad. This picture here, as you can see, is just Shaq behind a guy being interviewed with his cheeks out. This isn't bad because again, Shaq is only humiliating himself. Yes, this guy here might feel quite awkward that Shaq's buns are right behind him, but it's not as if he is like stealing from him or doing anything to affect this guy. I don't mind this. Out of everything on this list that I'd be likely to do, showing some side cheek for, you know, Bleacher Report, why not? Next up, we have the abstinence bear, and this genuinely makes me sad. Way too far. AC Green used to have a green teddy bear. It was a bear that was meant to represent his, like, sexual purity. Welcome to the Ken Kenson channel. This is what we talk about. He did this to promote abstinence between unmarried people. It's something he believes in. And it's something that we can assume he stuck to himself. Now, what do you do when you're Shaq and you're a silly jokester? You cut a hole in his teddy bear and wear it around your It probably could be a contract termination. It's a shame that I don't think it's a crime. I mean, destruction of property again, but that's not the issue I have with it. The fact that Shaq would look at someone who has a green teddy bear that's meant to represent finding like a deeper amount of love between you and a partner. And what I can only assume is his first thought is Shaq must put inside. He's actually a caveman. He's a deplorable human being. Not to mention how close like someone gets with a teddy bear. Look, you know, some of you guys might think, shut up. But if I carried a teddy bear around with me every day, I'd start to treat that teddy bear kind of like a pet, right? And the thought of one day sitting in the locker room and having Shaq walk out, I don't even want to get into it. It's just gross, man. Then we have cuddling staff, and the picture is Shaq in the uniform he wears to cuddle staff. I'm again gonna have to put this in arrest him. It's the same thing as like wrestling your teammates naked. If you're cuddling staff naked and they're unconsenting, dude, you should be arrested for that. That's just sexual assault. Hotel run. I actually couldn't find anything that explicitly had like evidence of this, so I'm gonna put it into a known myth, but really it could be on the list. It's just that Shaq used to run down hallways completely naked to like scare younger players and to like intimidate them. But without 1000% knowing, I don't really want to rank it. Same thing as the Shaq special chases. The allegation is just that Shaq used to chase his young teammates while completely naked to scare the crap out of them. He's confirmed to have wrestled them naked, or allegedly confirmed. Come on. But I'm going to put it down here just, you know, I feel more safe putting it here than putting it right up with like wrestling. And stealing gym clothes. The allegation is that he would just move people's clothes and sometimes take them and throw them out and stuff, so that way people had to wear like their sweaty gym clothes after a workout. It's a little too far, not as bad. I want to point towards this other tier list that I made. This is everything in general that I have seen alleged. Now you'll notice there are some extra things on this board. I didn't include them because the evidence around them was subpar at best. Like any allegations that Shaq put hot sauce in people's goggles is just because Shaq is a bad enough guy that people can make up stories and it can be believed. There's also an allegation the reason Shaq and Kobe first ever stopped liking each other was because Shaq would haze Kobe. I couldn't find anything specific about Shaq hazing Kobe. I think anything along those lines would have been like scrubbed from the internet by his team around 2020. You can read everything on the screen. There was other things like apparently forcing rookies into bets they didn't want to make, and then if he lost, he wouldn't pay them, but if he won, he would expect them to pay them. Again, I can't find anything concrete on that. Things like stripping naked in the gym. I can't confirm any of these, so I didn't feel comfortable making a tier list and ranking them like they were true. Also, so many of these things like hiding keys, it just feels perfectly matched with the like understandable but I stole your car. Like these two could be so intertwined. The classic shower bin prank where you throw a bin at someone while they're in the shower. I mean, if he's throwing poop on people, this could also be true. In a world of terrible Shaq truths, it's hard to know which ones are Shaq lies. Everything on here is something that I've been able to find some level of credible evidence with, even if the credible evidence is Gary Payton.
We started being jokes. So I said, I got to get him. So I got his drawers one day, and I took them, and he had to wear them underneath his thing and be free balling all the time, right? But we messed up his pants. So he didn't have no drawers because he was trying to find his drawers, and I had them. You know what I'm saying? And so he had to ride a towel around him, and Shaq don't care. He'll go outside with the towel on and everything. He was just doing all kinds of stuff. He'd get in his truck, ride around the thing, and then he'd throw the towel out and he'd be free balling. Yeah. So I used to keep all his shorts and pair of drawers and all that stuff.
There you go.
The reason a few of these made it onto the list, though, like Debbie and George, is because this is something that was believed to be true before Debbie and George came out and Shaq came out to talk about it. I thought it was worth mentioning. Basically, Shaq is a pretty bad dude, and he loves to haze people, and clearly, based on the contract termination panel, loves to haze people that try to prank him. I would assume it's because no one was probably ever able to like little bro Shaq. Something about being like 6'5" in preschool probably makes you like immune to being told to do something if you don't want to do it. There is a really good video by Rusty Buckets about Shaq. Although if I could give him any criticism, he tries to relate himself too much to Shaq and talks about how he doesn't like when people question him and his ego can get in the way of his judgment. The thing is, Rusty Buckets, you didn't pour a rusty bucket of shit on your teammates. So I don't think you're as bad as Shaq. You don't have to do that to yourself. Anyway, hope you guys appreciated the Shaq prank tier list. Does any of this change your opinion of Shaq? Does this take him out of your top 10? Please let me know. If Gary Payton is telling the truth, which, you know, it's a big if, then Shaq is one of the worst people to ever play the game.